Hey guys, good morning. Guys, if you're able to see my screen, just type yes in the chat box. Great. So let's get started, guys. So we have completed arrays, we completed strings, and one of the session we completed wrapper classes and primitive data types. Now we are heading to exception handling mechanism. So exception handling. So let's get started here, guys, with exception handling topic. This is the last topic for this particular session 12. And in session 13, we have 3 more topics left out in Java. And after that, we'll continue with Selenium automation. Okay, that's the plan. So exception handling. So first of all, to understand what exactly exception handling is, you have to first understand what exception is. Okay. So in order to understand what exception handling is, how to handle the exceptions, before that, you have to understand what exception means. This part of the exception handling, you have to understand first. What is an exception? What is an exception? Exception is nothing but a runtime error. Okay. Everyone type in the chat box. What is an exception? Exception is nothing but what? The chat box. Everyone type. It's a runtime error. Okay. This is very important to remember, guys. Okay. That's why I ask you guys to type in the chat box. Okay. In exception handling, if you break that into exception, what is an exception? It's a runtime error. It's a runtime error. Runtime means what? When you are running the program, in the program output, if you are getting an error, that is a runtime error. Okay. So while writing the code, you will not get any error like compiler error, you will not get. But if you run the code without any compiler errors, and during the output, if you are going to get an exception, that is a runtime error you are getting in the output. Okay. So exception is nothing but a runtime error, which occurs while running the code. In the output, you will get the error while the program is running. Such kind of error is called as runtime error. The other name for the runtime error is exception. Okay. So how to handle such kind of runtime errors is all about exception handling mechanism. Okay. Exception is nothing but an error which is occurred during runtime, that is during program execution. So I'll give you examples and all. Okay. So what happens when an exception occurs that I'll cover. But for now, I'll show you what is a runtime error or exception. Okay. With an example, I'll show you what is a runtime error or exception. For that, I'll go to this project. And here I'll create a new package. I'll just name this package as exception demo. Finish. The package is created. Once the exception is created, inside the exception, I'll create a new class. I'll just name this as one. With main method, I'll create. Inside the main method, I'm going to write some code, which is going to result in a runtime error. While running the code, you'll get an error. Such kind of code I'm going to write. Okay. So int a is equal to some value, say 9. Okay. Int b is equal to a divided by 0. System.out.println a system.out.println B. Do you think this program will be executed? Do you see any compiler error here? Java is giving any compiler error in this case when I have written this code? No, right? No compiler error. The code has been written properly and without any errors. But can you divide any number by zero? In mathematics, what will happen, guys? In mathematics, if you try to divide a number by zero, they generally say as infinite, right? And in Java, infinite is not possible at all. Okay? If there is a possibility of infinite, how can an infinite value be stored in a variable B? So it is not possible in Java also. Okay? If it is not possible in mathematics to divide a number by zero and give a proper value, then in Java also it's not possible to divide a number by zero and assign some value to that. Infinite value cannot be assigned. So what Java simply does is, it is not giving a compiler error here, but once I run the program in the output, I'm going to get an error at this particular line, that is ninth line. At the ninth line, I'm going to get an error in the output. Okay, at the ninth line, I'm going to get an error in the output, guys. Run the code. The ninth line, the error will come. You see, the ninth line. This is the ninth line. We got the error saying which exception. What is the error? What is this runtime error? It's nothing but an exception. What is the name of this exception we got? Everyone type in the chat box the name of the exception we got. Everyone type in the chat box the name of the exception. There is no space. Arithmetic without space exception you have to type. Arithmetic exception. Arithmetic exception. We got arithmetic exception. When you are trying to divide a number by zero, what type of runtime error or exception you are getting in the output? Arithmetic exception. Remember this. Okay. So what is the reason for this runtime error or exception? You are trying to divide a number by zero. Okay. Whatever I'm highlighting in the output, right? Divided by zero is the reason for getting this arithmetic exception, guys. Okay. At the line 9, we got this exception. Fine. Exception is nothing but an error which is occurred during runtime, that is during program execution. Okay. If an exception has occurred during what are the side effects of an exception then? You see, there is a problem in the code where you cannot divide a number by zero. Hence, you got a runtime error, which is nothing but exception at the line 9. Because of which, what is the problem happened? What happens when an exception occurs in the program at particular point of a particular line? What happens if an exception occurs at this line 9? What is the problem with the exception actually? What is the problem statement? Anyone can say? Kumari is saying the execution will stop at the line 9.
We cannot execute the program.
The program execution will stop indirectly, right? That's the main thing you are saying. Right. Okay. So whenever an exception occurs, there itself the program execution will stop. What about the remaining lines? Will they get executed? Will they get executed, guys? No. You see, line 12 from 10th line onwards to the end of this program, nothing got executed. Here we got an exception. Here we got an exception. Because of the exception, the program execution has halted here itself and stopped. Got terminated. Program got terminated here and remaining code will not be executed. That is a problem with the exception. Let's say in your program, you have 100 lines of code. In the program, you have 100 lines of code like this. Okay. Assume that these are the 100 lines of code in the program. And what happened was, at this particular line, let's say we got an exception. Now, all these remaining lines will not be executed. This particular line in the program was giving fourth line in the 100 lines was giving the exception. Because of that runtime error or exception, the program execution has terminated or stopped, because of which the remaining code that I have highlighted here, this particular remaining code won't be executed anymore. It won't be executed anymore, guys. Okay. The remaining code in the program won't be executed anymore. The lines will not be executed. And instead, because you got an exception and the program got terminated because of the exception. That's the problem with the exception, guys. So guys, what is the problem with the executed? What is the problem with the exception? When an exception occurs, the program execution will stop and remaining lines of the code won't be executed. Okay, it will stop execution. That's the problem with the exception. Exception will occur. Java compiler is not giving any compiler error, but when I run the code, I'm getting an exception. Why someone will deliberately give or try to divide a number by zero? Do you think the people will deliberately try to get an exception here? Do you think that, guys? Will people deliberately divide a number by zero in real time? No, right? But what happens in real time is something like this, okay? I'll just give you another program where you will learn one more thing, one more new concept you will learn. So we'll take all the inputs from the user, okay? We'll take all the inputs from the user this time. In this program, we'll take the inputs from the user, guys. That is, what we'll do here is, I'll explain about something known as scanner class for that, okay? So for that, before going here, I'll just create one more package here. I'll just name this as scanner demo. Scanner demo, okay? Some new concept I'm explaining. Along with exception handling, I'm covering the scanner also for you. Here I'm going to create a new class. I'll just name this as one here with main method. So what I want to do is I want to take one input from the user. I want to collect one input from the user and print that in the output. That's what I want to do. Okay. So for that, I need to create an object for scanner class. There is a predefined class in Java known as scanner, for which I have to create an object like this. Okay. Scanner is equal to new scanner. Hover the mouse on this and import this scanner class from java.util package. This constructor cannot be empty. Inside this constructor, we have to provide system.in. You have to remember this, guys. Okay. Inside the constructor, what I have to provide? What we have to provide? Just type in the chat box what we have to provide inside this scanner constructor. System.in. Remember, guys. Okay. It will collect the input. Why we are writing system.in? This scanner class is going to collect the input from the user. Okay. Scanner is equal to new scanner. And in the constructor of the scanner, we have to pass system.in as per the rules of Java. Now, this object reference I'll take, that is scanner class object reference I'll take, scanner dot next. There are many methods you see. If you want to receive, if you want to intake input as integer value from the user, you have to use next int. Okay. No, system is not an object, it's a predefined class in Java. System is a predefined class from java.lang package. Okay, Pawan? Okay. Excuse me. Scanner dot okay. Scanner dot next will intake string value from the user. Okay. During the runtime, a user can input a value into this. Okay. This method will collect the input from the user. If you say normal next, it will collect the string input from the user. Similarly, we have next byte value from the user. It can collect next double. It will intake the double value from the user. Next int, it will collect the integer value from the user. Next long, it will collect the long value. Next short, like that, many methods are there. So I'm going to take something like this. Next int or string, anything is fine. So I can take string for now. Dot next, I'll say. Okay. Scanner dot next, which will connect the string input from the user. Okay, it will collect the string input from the user. You see, next will return you string. String name is equal to, okay. Now I'll just print out name. Okay. So what I have written this code here is what code I have written here is I first create an object for the scanner class so that using the object references of the scanner class, I can call some methods, predefined methods of the scanner class. One of such kind of predefined methods of the scanner class is next method, which will intake the input from the user in string format. Okay, which will collect the input from the user in string format. That string will be stored into the name. And once I print that, that name will be printed. So I'll run the code. You see, once I run the code, do you see anything happening where can I get an idea like in the output, like I have to enter some name here, some string text I have to enter. Are you getting a clue here? Right? When I run the code, are you getting a clue here in the output, like I have to enter something here? No, right? Here I can enter, guys. Still I can enter. Okay, for example, I'll enter my name here, Arun Motori, like this. I'll enter and Arun Motori and press enter. You see, only Arun is getting printed. That's okay. There is a reason behind that. Okay. Here, instead of next, we have to use next line. Okay. If you want to collect the entire string, whatever the line of text we are entering, user is entering, if you want to take that, you have to go with next line. Next will only take the first word in whatever you are entering. So if you go with next line, it will collect the entire thing. It's better to use next line instead of next. So if I run the code here, you see its cursor is blinking, but this is not enough for a user to understand that they have to enter something here. But since I already know that, since I created the program, I know that I have to enter something. I'm entering my name here and pressing enter. You see, here I'll just write a proper print statement saying welcome plus name. Whatever the name that is collected here, that will be printed. Okay. Run the code again. Here I'm giving my name. Welcome Arun Motori got printed. Okay. Yes, for string we'll take next line. If you take only next, it will also collect string, but not the entire line. It will intake only the first word of the line that you entered in the output will be collected. Okay, that is the difference between next and next line. So fine. Anyhow, there's a problem in the output because you don't know when to enter a value. For that reason, before collecting this input, before collecting the string input from the user, I'll write a print statement to guide the user in the during the output. While program is running, I would like to guide the user to enter some value. Enter your name. Like this, I'll give some helping text. So if I run this code now, this time you will see that in the output, you'll see that it's giving enter your name. Now I can understand that. Let me run it again, guys. Okay, some mistake. Use some space so that it will be good. I'll run the code. Enter your name. Here, I'll enter my name, Arun Motori. Like this, I'll enter my name because I got an instruction here while running the program to enter my name. I enter the name and press enter. And now it's saying welcome Arun Motori. Welcome Arun Motori. It is saying, right? So this is how we can collect the input from the user. Where if you want to collect different type of inputs, instead of next line, you provide next int, next byte, next short, next long, and so on. Okay. Here next line will collect the input from the user in string format, whereas next int will collect the input from the user in integer format. Okay. And there is one more thing, guys. You see, there's a warning coming for this scanner. Object reference of the scanner is giving, saying that resource leak scanner is never closed. It's a good practice to close this. This is not an error, but it's a warning message given by Eclipse ID kind of stuff. So you can close it better. Scanner dot close. Okay, we can say scanner dot close. You see, the warning message is gone off. It's gone. So if you don't close, what will happen? Will any error will come? No error has come already. I've not closed and I have run the program before you only, right? No error will come. But memory leak will happen. Java has a garbage collection mechanism which will come later and clean it. Okay. Resource will leak will happen here and Java will later clean it using its garbage cleaning mechanism, which is an automatic cleaning mechanism. Okay. After some time, it will using it some logic and all, it will come and clean the memory leak at later point of time. But why to give the chance to Java if there is a way to stop the memory leak here itself by closing the object? You can close it directly here, right? Okay, you can close it if there is a way to close it and stop that memory leak happening because of the object created in the memory and has not been destroyed after the program execution is done. It's better to close it by yourself. So that warning message will go and it acts like a good practice, and we are not giving a chance to Java to go and clean it automatically using garbage collection mechanism. Okay. So this is how, guys, a program looks like. Okay. Which will intake the value from the user. Okay. Welcome, Varun Dawat. This is how the scanner will look like. Okay. Clear, guys? Clear with the scanner? Everyone clear with the scanner class and how to use scanner class to collect the input from the user
Yeah,
during the
I mean,
runtime?
warning message is coming only for the keyword scanner, or like it will come for everyone. Like,
For this object reference, which has to be closed, for that it will come, not everyone.
oh,
You got the idea, right? You see, it's not about all the objects, but for scanner object, once the task is done, you have to close. Okay, it will give you the warning. For such kind of warnings, you have to go and see why the warning is coming. You can close. There are some classes in Java for which when you create objects, you have to close them. Okay, this is one of such
okay,
kind of class. Whenever
okay,
you see such warning, you try to close it. That's it. You don't have to think much. Okay.
okay, Arun, thank you.
It's not for all the classes in Java. So whatever the classes which will involve in memory resource leakage after creating an object, such kind of classes we have to close. Okay, for such kind of classes, we have to close that object. Okay, once the task is done. For scanner, we have to close. Fine. So for now, you got an idea how to intake inputs from the user. How to intake inputs from the user, you got an idea. Now let's move back to our exception demo. And here, intentionally, no one will enter 0. Intentionally, no one will manually write the logic like this: a divided by 0, 9 divided by... No one will write like that intentionally. But what happens in real time is the users will enter the wrong value sometimes. Okay, users will enter the wrong value sometimes. For example, if I say here scanner is equal to new scanner, create an okay program like this, and here I'll say system.in pour the mouse on the scanner and import this from util package, and simply say scanner dot next. Instead of next, normal next or next line, I'll take next int. This time I want an integer value to be taken by. Okay, here I'll write a print statement to guide the user. Enter first number. Okay, this first number I'll store into. You see the return type of next int will be next. I mean int. Okay, I'll say int num1, number one. Similarly, I'll ask the user to enter the second number. Enter second number. Okay, here scanner dot next int. Here I'll take this as int num2. Now what I'll do is int result is equal to num1 divided by num2. Number 1 divided by number 2. And after that, I want to print out number 1, number 2, and I would like to say system.out.println. Result is plus num3. Sorry, result. Okay, here result, right? Result is called num1 divided by num2. This is the program I have written. And finally, I'll write system.out.println. End of this program. So the program will work fine. And one more thing here, scanner, you see warning message is coming. Resource leak, scanner is never closed. So try to close it. Whenever it says, you just close it. That's it. Okay. Now run the code. Right click run as Java application. Run the code here. Enter first number it is saying. I'll just enter 9 here. Enter second number it is saying. I'll enter 3 here. 9 divided by 3. Result will be what? 3 3 is a 9. Okay. The result will be 3. 3 times you can divide the number 9 with 3 times. Okay. So result is 3. Number 1, number 2, result is 3. End of the program got printed. Everything is working fine so far, right? Everything is working fine so far. What if user doesn't give a proper value? User gives 9 here, but second number user gives 0. We are collecting the number, right? 0 we have entered. 9 divided by 0. That will result in, can 0 divide 9 in Java? 9 divided by 0 is possible. Such kind of things will happen, guys. So we don't know whether there's a possibility here that user may enter 0 in this program. We don't know. That will happen. Everything will happen in real time, right? There's a possibility. When user enters 0 in the line 14, when you're trying to divide that particular number 1 with 0, you got an exception saying arithmetic exception you got, okay? Arithmetic exception. The reason is you are trying to divide a number by 0 and the program halted. Remaining code has not been executed because of that exception. Okay, we got an arithmetic exception. Remaining code didn't get executed. Then how to overcome this problem? You see, there may be situations where despite of getting an exception here, where we are trying to divide a number by 0, we got an exception. Still, we want to run the remaining portion of the code. That's the situation. What to do, guys? If I want to run the code, guys, okay, despite of getting the exception here, I would like to run the code. Remaining portion of the code still need to be executed, but in this run, the remaining lines of code has not been executed. The program execution has stopped at the 14th line, but remaining lines have not been executed. What I have to do? What I have to do, guys, to overcome this problem? We have to handle the exceptions or not? We have to handle the exceptions. Okay? We have to handle the exception. The answer is we have to handle the exception here. If you handle this particular exception that occurs at the 14th line due to some reason, the remaining lines of code can be executed. The program execution will not stop. When you handle the exception, the program execution will not stop. So what we have to do, guys? Type in the chat box. When you get an exception, and if you still want to run the remaining portion of the code despite of the exception, then we have to handle the exception. Everyone type handle the exception in the chat box. We have to handle the exception. Exception handling or handling the exception is the solution, right? We have to handle the exception. In Java, there is one way only to handle the exception by using try-catch blocks. Everyone type in the chat box. How to handle the exceptions in Java? If someone says that you have to handle the exception, only one way is there in Java to handle the exception. That is by using what? Try-catch blocks. Okay. Exception handling is possible in Java only using one way, that is try-catch blocks. Without try-catch blocks, we cannot handle the exceptions. In Java, how to handle the exceptions? Using try-catch blocks. Okay, try-catch block. We have to implement try-catch blocks in our programs to handle the exception. That's the only way to handle. There's no other way to handle the exceptions in Java except try-catch block. Okay. Yes, right, guys. Exception and try-catch blocks can handle the exception. Okay, fine. We can handle the exceptions in Java using try-catch blocks. Okay, which is very, very, very important for our learnings. Handling the exceptions is known as the topic name. What is the topic name? Exception handling. Handling the exception is known as exception handling. Why we are handling the exception? When an exception occurs, the program execution will halt there itself, stop there itself, and remaining code will not be executed. And if you still want to run the remaining code despite of getting an exception, by handling the exception, we can continue the execution of the code. Okay, that's why we have to handle the exception. And this handling the exception is called as exception handling mechanism. Exception handling mechanism. Okay. And how to handle the exception? Try-catch blocks. Handling the exceptions is known as exception handling. And how to handle the exception using try-catch blocks? We have to put this particular line inside the try block. Whatever the line that is prone to that exception, there is a possibility that user may enter 0 here. Is there a possibility or not, guys? Before you run the code, even though we are not getting any compiler error, do we have the possibility that user may enter 0 for the number 2? Is there a possibility or not? What do you say, guys? Is there a possibility that user may enter the 0 value into the number 2? Is there any possibility? Yes, right? There is a possibility that user may enter the value 0 into the number 2. There is a possibility. So not always the user will enter 0, but there is a possibility that for this particular line, user may enter number 0 during the runtime. There is a possibility I'm saying. But when that happens, when that situation happens where user really enters value 0 into this number 0, number 2, we should be ready to handle that. We should think about in advance and we should be handling that. So this particular line, which is where there is a possibility of an exception, have to be surrounded by try block. I'll show you the syntax here. Just see the syntax before I implement the code. We have to put that line inside the try block. You see, try, catch. The try block for the code which there is a possibility of getting an exception during runtime. That code we have to mention inside the try block. Try block is starting here, starting curly brace, ending curly brace. Okay, inside this try block, we have to write the line. And in the catch block, we have to handle the exception. So the line for which the exception is possible, we have to put inside which block, guys? Everyone type in the chat box. For the lines for which the possibility of exception may come, have to be put inside which block? Try block. Try block, we have to put that line. And where do we handle the exception? Where do we handle the exception? In the catch block. The code for handling the exception will be written inside the catch block. Okay, the line for which the possibility of exception is there should be put inside the try block. And once the exception occurs, the solution for fixing that exception or handling the exception will be written inside the catch block. Okay, guys, that's what is the thing. Nothing much. Okay, so there is a possibility of this particular line giving an exception. So what I'll do here is I'll put this particular line inside the try block. Int try block like this. Okay. And when an exception occurs, the control will go to the catch block. For example, if an exception occurs at this particular line, the control will move on to the catch block. Catch block. So here, you see, there is a predefined class in Java known as exception class, which can capture the exceptions. Okay, exception. I'll explain more about this. Don't worry. So catch for now, I'm just showing you how to handle the exception. What happens with exception? Why we are writing this class and why we are specifying some object reference here. All will be covered to you later. Okay. So this is how the catch blocks look like. And once an exception occurs, the exception will be cached by this catch block. And here, I'll simply say exception. I have to handle the exception, right? So I'll simply say exception occurred and handled here. Okay. Handled in catch block. I'm just writing for your sake, but not really I'm writing. So here I'll write name2. I'll set it to 1. Okay. If some user gives 0 here, I'll just change it to 1. So what happens? Exception will not occur. But there is a problem here. You see, the result is created inside the try block. Now the scope of this result will be up to the try block only. Outside you cannot access. What I'll do is I'll declare this result outside. Int result I will say. And then here I'll not declare it. Okay. Result is equal to num1 divided by num2 I'll write. Okay. It's a better way of writing, right? I'll take the result outside the try block so that the program can access it. Still, my error is not gone. Why? Because when you create a local variable in Java, it has to be initialized. Local variables need to be initialized, guys. Okay, in order to use the local variables, only declaration will not work. You have to initialize. So initialize this with some value. Okay. Say 0 or something you write. Okay. Result is called num1 divided by num2. Just give some value, default value for the result, and result is called num1 divided by num2. And here, let's see what happens in this case. I have written the try catch block to handle the exception. Okay, if user enters 0 value into the num2, it will give you an runtime error or exception while the program is running, and the control will go to the catch block, and handling of the exception will happen where exception occurred and handled in the catch block will be printed. And we are changing the value of num to 2. Or you don't have to change also. Okay. You don't have to change also. We are simply printing here. Otherwise, I can do one thing. I'll say result is equal to num1 divided by 1. I'll say, okay. I'll change the result. Okay. I'll try to change the result. Okay. So that it will be printed here without any problems. Fine. Run the code. There are, whatever the way you want to handle the exception, it's up to you guys what logic you want to write. It's up to you. I've written like this, but it's not, doesn't mean that you have to write like this every time. I'll just say 9. And the other one is I'll say 3. So when I enter 9 into this number 1 and 3 into this number 2, result is equal to 0 and result is equal to 9 divided by 3. 3 is a 9, result is equal to 3. It will not go to the catch block because no exception has occurred. Number 1 is 9, number 2 is 3, and result is 3. End of the program will be printed. 9, 3, result is 3. End of this program got printed without any problems, right? Now again, I'll run this code, and this time I'll enter the first number as 9, second number as 0. 9 divided by 0 will give an exception, arithmetic exception, and the program will not halt this time because this line, which is for which the possibility of exception is there, is put inside the try block, and the control will go to the catch block, and the catch block will get executed where exception occurred and handled in catch block will be printed. And after that, result is called, instead of dividing the number 1, that is 9 by 0, we are trying to manipulate it and try to dividing the number by 1. So how many times number 9 can be divided by 1? 9 times. So number 1 will be 9, number 2 will be 0, and result will be 9. End of this program will be printed. 9, 0, result is 9, end of this program will be printed. Somehow we have handled the exception. And also in the output, you see, exception occurred and handled in catch block also got printed. The control went to the catch block. This is how we can handle the exceptions in Java, guys. That is the syntax, you see. Syntax for the try catch blocks is the code for which there is a possibility of getting a runtime error or exception has to be put inside the try block. And in the catch block, we have to handle the exception. Okay. The catch block, we have to handle the exception. So I'm going to explain the flow of the exception now. Everyone clear? So far, everyone is clear. If it is clear for you, type C in the chat box. Any doubts, you can ask me, guys. So far, any doubts are there, you can ask me.
I don't one doubt.
Yes, please.
But as per the user's input, the result would not be 9, right?
No, just I'm saying you right. This is my way of handling the exception.
Okay.
It doesn't mean that you have to handle in your way. You can handle it in your way. Whatever the logic you write here for handling, that's up to you. This is my way of handling.
If we are not giving that result equal to num1 by 1, what will
result
happen
will be
to the
0 will
results?
be printed because by default result is 0. Na? Result is got 0 will be printed. Okay. It's up to you. Whether you want to implement this logic or not is up to you. There are many other ways also to handle this. I'm just giving you one way. Okay. So multiple possibilities are there in the catch block to write. Okay. Fine. Great. Any other questions, guys? Any other questions you have? It's compulsory in Java to initialize. I'll explain something. Since you're asking me about why we need to initialize, I'll just go back to the basics a bit and explain that. Initialization demo. In Java, when you create a class, just close this thing. This I'm explaining because since you asked me the question, I'm explaining this, guys. Okay, initialization demo. And why we have to initialize, I'll tell you. As per the rules of Java, when we have to initialize, you have to see here. Okay. Just see here, guys, what I'm trying to do. When you create a variable inside a method, that variable is called as a local variable or global variable. Tell me, guys. It's a local variable, right? A variable that is created inside the method, inside the method is called as a local variable. For example, I declared this variable a with int data type. Did I initialize this value? Did I initialize any value to this variable? No, but I am directly trying to print it. Am I getting a compiler error? Yes, right. The local variable may not have been initialized. All the local variables in Java need to be initialized. It's mandatory. Before using the local variables, we have to initialize them. We have to initialize the local variables before using. In our previous case, why we have to initialize in our previous cases? You see, the operation is happening inside the try block and it's not visible outside the try block. Okay. So Java is thinking that whether we have initialized the result or not. Okay. The result is being done inside the try block, whose scope is not outside the try block. It's not visible outside the try block. Hence, it is expecting you to initialize it with some value before using it. That's what is happening. That's how Java is thinking, guys. Java is thinking that you have declared a variable and you have not initialized it. Inside the try block, you're initializing, but Java is unable to find it because try block will hide the things, okay, in the program. So you'll not get it outside. So when you try to print it or use the variable without initializing in somehow, you will get a compiler error from Java saying that local variable may not be initialized. So you are getting a direct option. So initialize a value means the default value 0 will come, okay? 0. Or you can initialize. Generally, when you don't initialize anything, we generally tend to give 0 as a value, okay? Run the code, it will work now, okay? Any local variable has to be initialized. What if I don't create a local variable? I create a global variable. Int A, and this method is a static method. Static methods can only access static stuff. So I have to make it static if you remember. Static int A I am saying, and if I'm printing the value of the variable A, am I getting any compiler error for the global variable? Am I getting any compiler error for a global variable? For the global variable, automatically the default values will be initialized. Java will take care of initializing a default value. It's not asking you to initialize a variable. If it is a local variable, initializing is mandatory before using. But if it is a global variable, no need to initialize compulsory. If you have not initialized, if you have not assigned any value, Java will take a default value for that variable as part of global variable. You see, 0 will be printed. Did I assign any value 0 to this global variable anywhere? No, right? But 0 is getting printed. What if I make it static int b? Instead of int, I'll give double b. What will be the default value? It will not ask you to initialize for global variables. For local variables only, initializing is mandatory. For global variables, instance variable means if you don't provide static here, it becomes an instance global variable. Mahesh. Is it clear, Mahesh? A global variable for which static keyword is not provided, that becomes an instance variable. Inside the static methods, we cannot access instance variables. For that, we have to create an object for the class, and using object reference, we have to access. That's why I'm making the job easy by creating static global variables here. Okay. So now what will be printed for B, guys? It is a double type. What will be printed for B? For A, it got initialized as 0. For B, global variable, so I don't have to mandatorily initialize in the program. 0.0 is the answer. Decimal value, 0.0 is the default value. I'll create few more. Static int double boolean C. Now print it. It's not asking to initialize, but what will be printed? False will be printed, guys. Default value will be false. You see, when you print it, false will be printed in the output. False is the default value will be printed. Okay. Now static. So char is something different, guys. Let's not worry about char. Some random character will come with char. So is there any other thing? Static string D. Did I assign anything to string value? No. What will be the default value? Null. Null will be the default value, guys. Okay. Null will be initialized for string. You say null. There is no value assigned, so null. Okay. Byte, short, long, int, everything will be 0. Okay. Byte, short, long, int will be zeros. Okay. Double, float, those will be 0.0s. Boolean will be false. Like that, some default values. Hope you got the idea, right? Remaining all you can check it by yourself, guys. Okay. So understood, right? For local variables, initializing is mandatory. Initialization is mandatory. Before using local variables, we have to mandatorily initialize them with some value by ourselves. Java will ask you if you don't initialize the local variable and try to use it. But for global variables, Java will not ask you to initialize. Automatically initializing will taken care by Java with the default values. Everyone clear with this topic? Why it's asking here in this program to initialize? Now it's clear for you? Great. Here, the result is inside the try block. Somehow the values are being done, but Java, before using the result, before using this result variable, it's asking you to initialize because the result is a local variable. It's mandatorily, we have to initialize no matter what. And try block, some initializing is happening, but the scope is inside the try block. So, the result operation initialization is happening inside the try block. So it's compulsory to initialize. Okay. Fine. This is a concept, guys. This is a concept and of exception handling mechanism. Okay, how to handle and all. As part of exception handling, I covered scanner class today, and also I covered why we have to initialize also. Any other doubts or questions? Before moving forward, any other doubts or questions, guys? Okay, fine. Looks like clear. Now I'm going to explain the flow of the try-catch block. Flow of the try-catch block. You see, in the try block, in this example, in this diagram or example, 1 minute. Can you see the code, right? Try block. There are 3 statements in the try block, and in the catch block, some exception code to handle the exception is there. Is it mandatory to write the catch block? Is it optional or mandatory? Is the question, right? Let's remove that. Error is coming. But catch block is not mandatory. Okay. We have to insert finally to complete the statement. It's saying there is another thing known as finally. You see, error is gone. Catch block is optional. It's not compulsory to write the catch block. If you want to handle the exception, catch block is required, but catch block is optional. Okay. So catch block is optional in Java. Okay. It's not compulsory to write the catch block. If you want to handle the exception, then you have to write the catch block. If you don't write catch block, it will expect finally block. Yeah, I'll explain all those stuff. Krupal, you're asking me whether we can write in place of the exception, can we write arithmetic exception? I'll cover that. Okay. I'm going to cover that. For now, let's focus here. Inside the try block, we have 3 statements. And in the catch block, we are writing the code to handle the exception. But let's say the exception occurs at the statement 2. The exception occurs at the statement 2 in the try block. Statement 1, no exception. Statement 2, an exception has occurred. What will happen? Control will come to the catch block. And the code in the catch block will get executed. What about statement 3? Will it be executed? Will the statement 3 will be executed, guys, or not? Statement 3 won't be executed. Statement 3 won't be executed, guys. It will be skipped. You see, in the try block, you provided 3 statements or 5 statements. In one of the statement, you got an exception, means remaining statements in the try block won't be executed. The control will go to the catch block directly and program execution will continue. Statement 3, statement 4, statement 5, after the exception occurred, will not be executed in the try block. Okay. So you should be aware of this. In the try block, whatever the lines you put, in one of the line, if you are getting an exception, the remaining lines in the try block will not be executed after that exception because control will move from that line which is giving the exception to the catch block directly. Clear with this? Everyone clear with the flow of the try catch block? This is a flow. Okay. Already demonstrated this code for handling the exception. I'll give you just for a sample case, I'll show you again. I have implemented try catch block, right? For example, system.out before exception, try int a is equal to 10 divided by 0 exception handled in catch block and after exception. Okay. So when an exception occurs, this will be printed and the program execution will continue. If you don't handle the exception, what will happen? Exception execution will stop at this line and remaining code will not be executed. But in this case, since we have handled the exception, this line will be executed. Okay. So one more thing you have to understand here is in this particular code, here exception is a predefined class in Java. What is exception, guys? Type in the chat box your answer. What is exception? It's a predefined class in Java. Everyone type predefined class. Exception is a predefined class. Exception is a predefined class in Java. Yes, exception is a predefined, one of the predefined classes in Java. Okay. So what's happening in this code is, what is E then? E is object reference. You can give any name, E, A, B, C, D, any name you can give. In this example, I have given E. E is nothing but what? Object reference of this exception class. Just type object reference in the chat box. E is object reference in this example. E is object reference in this example. Okay, E is nothing but an object reference in this example. Yes, E is object reference. So when an exception occurs, when user enters 0 here for the number 2, this particular line will give you an exception. Exception is nothing but what? It's an object. Which exception you will get here? When you try to divide some number by 0, which exception you are going to get? Which exception you are going to get, guys? Generally. Arithmetic exception, right? So object of the arithmetic exception will be thrown. Object of which exception will be thrown in this by the statement? Object of the arithmetic exception will be thrown, and since we have put this particular line which is throwing that object of that arithmetic exception here, instead of that object getting thrown, that error getting thrown to the Java compiler or Java or JVM or whatever you call, okay, the exception will be that object or exception that is thrown here, for arithmetic exception object that is thrown here, okay, will be captured by the catch block. Okay, this will throw an exception, object of an exception. Which type of exception? Arithmetic exception related object. Arithmetic exception is another predefined class in Java, guys. Since an exception is occurring for arithmetic exception here, object of the arithmetic exception will be thrown, and that object will be captured by this catch block, and that object will be stored into the object reference of this exception class. Okay, Srilata, I'll explain that, what to do and all. Okay. So here an exception is thrown, which is nothing but an object of arithmetic exception class, and that is being stored into the object reference of exception class. Is that possible in Java? To store an object of arithmetic exception class and assign it to the variable of the exception class, is it possible? Object of the arithmetic exception class can be stored into the variable of the exception class. Will that be possible or not? Why it is possible? When it will be possible? When it will be possible, guys? Object of arithmetic exception can be stored into the variable of the exception, means exception is a parent class, right? Exception is a parent of individual exception classes like arithmetic exception, array index out of bounds exception, like that many exceptions are there. The exception is a parent class. That's the reason here this line is throwing an object of the arithmetic exception class. Arithmetic exception class is a child class of the exception class. Hence, the object of the arithmetic exception class can be assigned to the variable of the exception class. Once the object is assigned, exception occurred and handling will happen and all those stuff will happen. Clear, guys? Clear? Clear with this concept? The line is throwing an exception, which is nothing but an object of a particular class, arithmetic exception class, or whatever the type of exception is. That object is stored into the variable of the exception class in the catch block. Okay. And since it can handle it, since the exception class object reference can store the object of the arithmetic exception class, catch block will be running. Okay. Okay. Now one question came already here. I think Srilata is asking me a question. How to execute the step 3 after the exception in step 2 in the try block from your previous example? They are skipped. There is no other way. They will be skipped. If you don't want that particular lines to be skipped, you should not be writing such kind of statements in the try block. You're getting my point?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so here I told you already that this statement 3 will be skipped. That is designed. We can't do anything. Okay. In the try block, when an exception occurs in first line or second line and remaining lines will not be executed in the try block, control will go to the catch block. The remaining statement 3, statement 4 after the exception occurred will not be executed in the try block. Okay. So that lines, if you want them to be executed, you should not put in the try block itself. You should not be putting that in try block. Okay.
Okay.
If you
Okay.
put,
Yeah.
definitely
Yeah.
they will get skipped. There is no other way. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Because control, you know that control will go to the cache block. You know that control will go to the cache block at any cost when an exception occurs. So there is no possibility of running the remaining lines in the cache block after the exception occurs in the cache try block. Okay, fine. So
Okay.
the steps will definitely get skipped without any way. We have to programmatically make sure that the lines, if they really need to be executed, we should not make them part of the try block. Okay, after the exception occurs. So now let's understand the exception hierarchy, guys. I told you here, right? Object of the arithmetic exception class is being assigned to the variable or object reference of the exception class, because arithmetic exception class, I told you that is a child class of the exception class in Java. If you see the exception hierarchy, the same thing we'll see, guys. Okay, this is exception hierarchy. Arithmetic exception class is one of the child class of the exception class, whereas array index out of bounds exception, we have seen this in arrays when you try to go behind the size of the array, right? Try to store elements behind the size of the array, we got this exception, right? So it's also a child class of exception class, and many more exception classes will be there in Java, which are the child class of the exception class. And exception class also has a parent class. What is that? What is the parent of the exception class?
Throwable.
Throwable. Sometimes there may be some situations where exception also will not work for us. Then we'll change the exception in the catch block to throwable so that it can handle everything. Not only exceptions, throwable also can handle errors. Some kind of errors it will handle. Apart from exceptions, some Java related errors also will be handled by throwable. It's behind exception, guys. Okay. Most of the cases, exception will be enough to capture the objects of this individual classes, exception classes. But sometimes when exception is not working, you have to change it to throwable, okay, in some situations. So I'm going to demonstrate arithmetic exception here. So I'll just go and, create one more class. Renuka, Mahesh, throwable, you are saying, what is throwable? It's another keyword, guys. So don't worry about it now. Okay, it will be covered later for you. Okay, it will be covered for you in some time. What is throwable? I'll cover you guys. Okay, don't worry about that. To understand throwable, there is other concept that I have to explain. That's why I'm not covering throwable right now. But I'll cover that. Okay. So inside the main method, here I'm going to demonstrate the arithmetic exception for you guys. Okay, handling arithmetic exception. Okay, I'll write a program which gives an arithmetic exception and how to handle it using try-catch blocks. I'll cover that. Okay. So here, this is the right way of doing that. You can use scanner class, but I don't want to complicate. Simple way I'm trying to do it. Okay. Or I can also take it, not a problem. Scanner. For B, I'll take it. Okay. Scanner is equal to new scanner. Let's habituate ourselves of intaking the inputs from the user going ahead. So it will be easy for us. So the program becomes big, but it's okay. Okay. We have to get used to it. Okay. So here I'll simply say system.out.println, enter any number. Then scanner dot next int. If I want to collect integer value, next int I'll say. Okay. So int number, and I'll simply say int result is equal to a divided by number, system dot out dot println result, I will say. So in this case, did I initialize result? You see, there is something here. I'm not put inside the try catch block. So initialization is visible. So it's not asking you to initialize the result with some value. some initializing is happening here with some programming logic. So it's Java is not asking you. But if I put inside try block, it will ask you to initialize separately. Okay. So that's a problem. So here, once the intaking is done, I'll say scanner.close here itself and run the code. It will ask you to enter a number. If I enter, let's say 1, it will not give you any exception here. A divided by 1, that is 9 divided by 1, 9 times, result will be 9. 9 will be printed as a result. Okay. What if I run again? And this time I'll give 0. You're trying to divide this 9 by 0. 9 divided by 0 will give an exception. Which exception will come, guys? In the 16th line, when I enter 0 here. Which exception will come in the, yes, arithmetic exception. So arithmetic exception. Here, an object of the arithmetic exception class will be thrown, guys. Okay. This particular line, that is 16th line, will throw an object of arithmetic exception class. And that object, once thrown, here we don't have try-catch block. It will be thrown to the Java. It will be thrown to the Java. Okay. Whoever is running the Java program, to that it will throw. So since an exception, an object of arithmetic exception is thrown, the program execution will stop. Java will stop the program execution because the object is not directed to the catch block by implementing try catch block here. Rather, it's thrown to the Java JVM, etc. And because of which program execution will stop in the line 16 and remaining code will not be executed. So what I have to do, guys? I have to handle the exception or not? I have to handle this exception or not? Otherwise, program execution is stopping. I still want to continue the program. So I have to put this line inside the try block. Try block, catch block. Here, I can provide exception class or directly, you know that in advance that this statement, there is a possibility of giving which type of exception? Arithmetic exception. So instead of giving exception, I can give arithmetic exception directly. Arithmetic exception E. Control Shift F. Okay, the organization will be done. And here, you see result is giving me an error because this becomes a local variable to the try block. So I have to take it outside. Okay, and remove the declaration, double declaration here. And here for the result, I have to initialize some value, let's say 0 or something. And now in the catch block, what I'm going to do is here, this line is throwing an object of arithmetic exception, and that object is being catched by the catch block into this object reference of arithmetic exception. So what will happen if I print this object reference? What will happen if I print this object reference? Let's see that. Okay, whatever the object that is thrown by this line, that is object of the arithmetic exception class, will be thrown to this E, and E will be printed here. Let's see what will happen. This same exception in thread main will be printed, but since exception we handled, right? So the result also will be printed, guys. Okay, program execution will continue because we have handled the exception. Enter a number, let's say 0. If I say, you see, the exception details got printed. The object of the arithmetic exception class has been printed like this. Exception detail divided by 0, and the program execution continued. Okay, despite of the exception, since we have handled the exception by printing the object reference of the exception that got occurred, the program execution has not halted here, and result also has been printed. You can also write system.out.println end of this program. Run the code. 0, 9 divided by 0 is exception will come. Object for the arithmetic exception will be thrown. That will be stored into the object reference of arithmetic exception class. In the catch block, we are printing the E. And as E will be printed as like this. Okay, E will be printed like this. Whatever I highlighted. Okay. After that, result is 0. Initialized value 0 will be printed. And end of this program will be printed. Okay. Clear with this arithmetic exception demo? Guys, everyone clear with this arithmetic exception demo? How to handle the arithmetic exception in Java is clear for you? Type C in the chat box if everyone is clear with the arithmetic exception demo. Other type of exception I'm going to show you if you are clear so far. Okay, clear. Okay, fine. Let's go with the other type of exception, guys. Okay, we have so far seen the arithmetic exception in a lot of our examples. Now I'm going to show you another exception which I already have covered as part of arrays, which is array index out of bounds exception. So I try to create an array variable, an array AR is equal to new int of 3. So what is the size of the array, guys? What is the size of the array here? Size of the array is 3. Size of the array is 3. But if I try to store more than 3 values into the array, AR of 0 is equal to 9, AR of 1 is equal to 5, AR of 2 is equal to 7. If I try to assign more than 3 values into this array, what will happen? Up to 3 values, no problem. Up to 3 values, no problem. More than 3 values?
Array out of bound exception.
If I run this code, for example, here if I write system.out.println, end of this program will be printed without any problem. End of this program will be printed without any problem. Okay. But if I try to store fourth element into the array, whose size is only 3, but fourth element I'm trying to store. In this case, what will happen is Java is not going to give you a compiler error, but at this line 12, you are going to get an exception. Exception will be thrown. That object of which class will be thrown? Object of which exception class will be thrown here at the line 12? Array index out of bounds exception. Array index out of bounds exception. Okay. Array index out of bounds exception also. Okay. The name of the exception is array index out of bounds exception. Okay. This is the complete name of the exception will be thrown. At that line 12, we'll get that exception, guys. Line 12, we got the exception. The exception name is array index out of bounds exception. The reason for the exception is index 3 out of bounds for length 3. The size of the array is 3, but you are trying to store the fourth element at the index 3. So because of which you got the array index out of bounds exception. It's saying, and end of this program has not been printed, you see. End of this program has not been printed. You can put this line in the try catch block and handle it. Okay. Try catch. Here I can put exception, or I can put array index out of bounds exception. Complete name you have to give. E or F or A or whatever you want to give, just give. And here simply print it out system.out.println E. Okay. The details of the exception will be printed. Control Shift. Yep. Okay. Now run the code. You see the details of the exception. When I print the object reference of that array index out of bounds exception, this got printed. Index 3 out of bounds for length 3. It looks very cool, right? Good, right? In the output, end of this program got printed. Okay. So not only this, if you try to access an element whose size behind the size, still you will get array index out of one. But this is one example, guys. Okay. So here, as per this diagram, exception is a parent class of arithmetic exception and array index out of bounds exception, where throwable is a grandparent. Either you can use exception or throwable in both the cases. Okay. So I'll just give you. This will be the last topic for today, guys. Okay. Exception and throwable will be the last topic. Tomorrow I'll cover exception types. As part of that, throwable also will be covered for you. Okay. So for now, these two things are left out that I'll cover for today, and tomorrow the remaining portion of the exception handling, and we'll go to the next topics of Java again. Okay. So 5 main method. Here I'll write the code. Int a is equal to 9, comma b is equal to 0. Int result, just to save time, I'm just writing like this: 9 divided by a divided by b. I'll write. We know that this will give you an arithmetic exception. System.out.println. I'll just simply print result here. Okay. This is output. Run this code. What will happen? You will get an exception at the line 9 saying arithmetic exception divided by 0, and line 9 you will get the exception. So what I have to do? I have to put try catch block. Type catch. Here have to write arithmetic exception E system.out.println E. Now you see this result is declared inside the try block. It will restrict the scope. So we have to take it outside. In result, we have to declare outside the try block, and we have to remove the declaration here inside, and we have to initialize it some default value. That's fine. Now run the code. You got the exception printed because here we are printing the exception details. Okay. Either we can write like this or we can put exception here. Can we put exception here or not? Guys, in place of arithmetic exception, can I put exception? Because object of the arithmetic exception class is child class. Child class object can be assigned to the variable of parent interface, so we can put. Same output you will get. It will be handled. Now, can I put throwable in case of it? Throwable. Can I put throwable? Yes, it's a grandparent. You can put it. You see, same output you are getting. Here, you can use exception, throwable, or arithmetic exception. Any of these things, three things, you can use it in place of throwable. Okay. You can use exception class, throwable class, arithmetic exception class here. Okay. So since throwable class and exception class are the parents of these child classes, arithmetic exception, array index, out of bounds exception class in Java, we can use them. Okay. We can handle them. We can handle this arithmetic exception and array index, out of bounds exception by writing exception or throwable classes. Okay. In rare cases, we use throwable. Most of the cases, exception will be enough for us. Okay. You don't have to go beyond that. So the concepts are clear for you. Whatever I covered today are clear for you guys. Just type C in the chat box if everything is clear. Otherwise, you can ask me the questions. Tomorrow, the remaining topic of exception handling I'll cover. And if you have any doubts, you can keep asking me now. I'll try to give you some assignments, guys.
One doubt.
Yeah,
Try catch,
please.
is it a class or method, or what's the type of that?
Try catch is neither a class nor a method. Okay, it's a block. We generally call them as blocks, like if block, else block, then like for loop block. Okay, we have a lot of blocks in Java, right? For loop, while loop, do while loop. There are blocks. Like the try catch is also like blocks. It's neither a method nor a variable nor a class. Okay.
Okay.
And you can say that try is one keyword of Java and catch is another keyword of Java. You can say that. Like int is a data type, but still it is a keyword. Static is some modifier. Okay. Non-access modifier. It's a keyword. Void is one, void is a keyword. Okay. It's a return type, but it's a keyword. Public is a keyword. Class is a keyword. Package is a keyword. Like try catch are keywords. And using, we have to represent the try catch block, try catch keywords in the form of blocks in Java. Is that clear?
Okay. Okay. Thanks. Thanks.
So what I would like to give some extra assignment today. Here, earlier I gave an assignment in one of the day, like, you have to go through the first 100 software testing interview questions. If you guys have not gone through that first 100, now the assignment will be updated to 200. Okay. Learn 200 core Java interview questions from here. 200. Whatever the 200 are there. I'm still updating this playlist with more interview questions in the coming days. For now, you can go till 200 Java, core Java interview questions with answers. Okay. With this knowledge, whatever I covered, you will be able to go through this list. Okay. Total 200 you cover, guys. Okay. Up to 200 you complete. An extra assignment I'm giving every day. So don't waste the time. Just try to give your 100% there. And your knowledge and confidence in Java will grow like anything. Okay. If you do all the assignments. Okay. So my videos, when you watch and practice, you will get some confidence for sure. But if you do the assignments and post in the WhatsApp groups that I completed so-and-so assignment, okay, depth assignments, something will need your hard work, something will need your smart work, something will need your knowledge that have given in the class, okay, to complete the assignments. If you are able to complete the assignments, your confidence will increase, guys. So today I'm going to give this assignment where 200 core Java interview questions and answers you have to complete. If not today, at least by the end of the weekend, okay, before Monday, you try to complete this, okay? That's a plan. But start your journey there. So any questions you can ask me, guys, okay? You can ask me the questions here. You guys have any questions, you can ask me. So what I'll do meanwhile is while you're asking the questions, I'll just update the things in the Telegram group without wasting any time. Okay. Okay, so today's notes, same notes, right? Exception handling is there in the same notes. So today's notes is same, but code is different. Any questions you can ask me, guys. Otherwise, you can leave. Only the people who have the questions can stay in the meeting. Sure, Srilata, you can stay in the meeting. And fine. One more person. Yeah, I'll answer all your questions, guys. Just give me a second. Yeah, Abdul, you there? Abdul and team who have joined recently to the training.
Yeah. Hi, Arun.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
Abdul, I have completed day 13 and day 14 of Java.
Ye- Yeah, I have seen those two videos.
Any doubts, any questions you got there?
No, I'm good there.
Okay, okay. So if in that case, you can go with 15 and 16. Okay. Okay. You and who are the people who have joined on that particular day, right? Can go with 15 and 16 now. And
Yes, sir.
just do it so that I'll repeat you. But since you have time, you do it parallelly. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, fine. And then give me a second. Some questions I got in the chat. Let me go through them one by one. Silata, you can talk at the end. Just be there in the meet. Okay. Let me cover all the questions of other people. So Krupal, the next part is like I have to complete Java. There are 3 more topics in Java that will take some time. Okay. Mostly this weekend or next week starting, we'll complete the remaining core Java portions. And after that, advanced Selenium will start. After the advanced Selenium part, we'll go with the frameworks. Okay. We'll go with the frameworks. The last one will be the frameworks and live project. Anyhow, we are doing in the weekdays and weekends. Sorry. Okay. Live sessions are already started on the weekends. Okay. So remaining portions will be remaining portions of core Java, some advanced Selenium topics, and followed by framework. That's a plan. Maybe it will take 2 weeks, I feel. Okay. 2 weeks to get there into the framework part. Fine, Krupal? Krupal, is this
Okay,
fine?
sir.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, sir.
Just expecting it to be 2 weeks for now, but let's see. Based on the doubts, if I have to clear more doubts, more concept I have to explain, it may delay, but mostly in next 2 weeks, I think we'll be there. Let's hope for that.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And yeah. Any other? Srilata, you be there. I'll be clearing your doubt at the end. And then any doubts, any other doubts, you can ask me, guys. Meanwhile, don't worry what I'm doing here. Just keep asking me any doubts. Okay, the code is getting uploaded so that I can paste the code in the Telegram group. Anyone have joined newly to this batch? That is today or something? Just type me in the chat box if anyone has newly joined today, or this is your first class, just type me, otherwise ignore. Fine, so today strings. Exception demo. Then we have the next one. Exception demo. 1 minute. Initialization demo. Then we have, yes, I'll cover Jenkins also. Okay, at the end, after the framework is completed, we'll go for Jenkins. Okay, that's the plan. Right, strings, I thought strings, I call, I don't know. Don't worry about that. Scanner demo, that one I covered. Then I have to give the assignments. Assignment 1. Yeah, thank you, Rajkumar. Yes, I am going to cover manual testing concepts mostly on weekends. I am planning. Soon you will get an announcement. Okay, maybe I'll try to cover on the weekends for now. Manual testing concepts, Vijay. Okay, you'll get an announcement by Javed soon. Okay, we are discussing on that. Once it is confirmed, we'll announce that. Parallelly, you'll also be learning manual testing on the weekends. Okay, weekdays will be Selenium automation as usual. Assignment 1. Yeah, Vivek, at this moment, we have not decided, but we are coming with a lot of initiatives. Maybe as part of the future initiatives, we'll definitely try to cover APIs also. Okay. API basics also, don't worry about that. Okay. Once you're part of this, at some point of time, we'll announce and we'll be part of that. Okay. Don't worry.
Because in interview they are expecting
Yes.
that rest assured should be there. So that's how I'm asking.
Yes, yes, sure, sure. We'll take care of that. Okay. The coming days
Yeah.
we'll do. Okay. For now, let's go with this, and maybe at the right time, I'll cover for that for you. Okay.
No issues. Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome. I know in interviews nowadays, they're asking for that. Write a sample program to handle arithmetic exception in Java. Assignment 2. Write sample program to handle array index out of bounds exception in Java. Assignment 3. Write a program to see what happens when we don't handle an exception. Assignment 4. Assignment 4 is use exception parent class or and throwable grandparent classes to handle arithmetic exception and array index out of bounds exception. And apart from that, an additional assignment I'm giving, that is assignment 5, just to increase your confidence levels in Java. That is, you have to complete watching and practicing this first 200 videos. Okay, watch first 200 videos in core Java interview questions playlist. Okay, this is an extra assignment I'm giving. This you can take time till weekend, etc. Okay, but you better do it so that your lot of aspects I covered as an answers for a lot of questions. So it will be good for you. Okay. Apart from that, I'll be uploading the recording soon. Maybe in 1 or 2 hours, you'll get the recording here. I'll post once that is done. So any questions, guys? Any questions? Any other people have any questions from today's session? Apart from Srilata? Yeah, Srilata, you can ask me now, whatever the question you have.
Yeah, hi, sir.
Yeah, hi
Uh,
Srilata.
Sir, like as per your advice, I was watching your previous videos also. Like till
Okay.
15 videos I have covered so far.
Which one?
15 videos, like from 11 to 15 videos I have covered.
Great. Okay, good.
Yeah, so I don't have any questions. I'm good with those videos. I'm able to understand.
Nice.
The problem is like I'm working. So morning I'm attending your sessions and evening times like I was watching those videos. So I'm
Okay.
not getting some time to practice or like whatever you're giving the assignments, I'm not able
No
to
problem.
back
No,
it.
you see, there is no deadline for the assignments. You can complete at any point of time. Okay.
Okay.
On a daily
Okay.
basis, you don't have, if you're not getting time, you can sit on weekends and complete them. Okay.
Okay. Sure, sir.
So weekend you will get some time, right? Saturday, Sunday. So just try to go with individual sessions and take that assignments and complete them. And once you complete, you can post in WhatsApp group with a delay also. Okay, no problem. And if any
Okay.
problems, you see a lot of discussions are already going in WhatsApp group. So you can
Yeah.
participate there also. Okay, people are ready to help.
Okay, sure, sir. So another thing, sir, like so like till now, like what all the contents that have been covered. So I was just going through the posts in the Telegram, but I'm unable to understand like how much portion have completed
Don't
and
worry
what.
about the portions, Srilata. So for now, you just focus on Java. Okay. So when
Okay.
we go to Selenium, I'll give you some videos, okay, at that time, okay. Now, you know, right, it will take like 4 more days for us, okay. 4 days, I'm just guessing, to complete all the core Java concepts, 4 more working days, okay.
Okay.
So what you do is, the way you are doing, right, that way is already good, okay. Don't focus on any other thing. 11 to 15, you completed, right? Continue
Yes.
that, okay. Continue that, whatever it's possible, okay, meanwhile.
Okay.
So just focus on that area only. That will be enough for you. So when the time comes, when we start, when you resume Selenium, right? Few topics, basic concepts of Selenium have been covered. That I'll tell you at that time. Okay.
Okay.
Till then, you focus on Java only for that. Okay. For now, that whatever 11 to 15, right? 16, 17, 18, you continue. Okay.
Okay, sir. So, like as I've mentioned, like from next month onwards, I'm trying to give interviews, sir.
Fine. Okay.
So just to see like where
Hmm.
like where I'm there. So what I have to learn. So
Okay.
for that reason, for that like my Java basics needs to be strong, and also like if they ask any
Yes.
questions related to the framework, or nowadays like they're asking about the API and the
Yes.
CI/CD
Yes.
pipelines also.
Yes.
So like how many days it will I mean like in how many days it will get you will be covering all these
You
topics,
see,
so that
there are two ways here. If you are in an urgency situation, right, you need to give a push from your side apart from my trainings, right? Basically.
okay.
So
Yeah.
I'll give you one plan is that you are attending my sessions. Don't worry about when it will be completed. Rather, you have time. My
Mm.
videos are already there on YouTube. So in my sessions,
Mm.
I'll cover more than whatever that is there on the videos, right? So
Okay.
that's the
Yeah.
plan. So I'll give
Mm.
you a plan. Okay. So you are good with software testing already?
Yes, sir. Manual testing, I am good. So
Okay.
right now, I'm
Whether
having
you are
almost.
good or not doesn't matter if you are trying to plan for an interview and all. Okay. So I'll give
Mm.
you a plan for everyone, not just you. Okay.
Okay.
So this is the way you have to generally plan yourself, the basic points for interview to get started with. Okay. So this is
Okay.
my ultimate plan, what I'm trying to give you. First thing is that for anyone who is getting started with software testing, who doesn't have knowledge, let's say, Srilata, you have the knowledge, but let's talk about people who doesn't have, okay, even software
Okay.
testing, and they are willing to take the interviews with an urgency now, instead of waiting for my sessions to be completed. So
Mm.
those people, as a step one, they have to start with, sorry, I just selected wrong one. They have to directly start with software testing playlist. Okay, that's the first activity they have to start with. I'll just share you software testing playlist. Where is that? 1 minute. I can find it out. A lot of playlists nowadays, right? So
Mm.
yeah, here it is. Okay, with live project, it is there. Whether you have the knowledge. So just if you already have the knowledge, but maybe if you're not good with Jira or something, right? Agile concepts, then still you
Mm.
can go through this and watch this video at 2x speed. Okay.
Okay.
And maybe even though you have knowledge, I have covered something like some advanced things like UI testing checklists that no one will cover. So try to watch or gain some knowledge that is not covered, or maybe you don't have that. Okay.
Okay.
So just as a confirmation whether you have that kind of knowledge or not, you can
Okay.
complete this playlist. Okay.
Okay, sir.
You can watch these videos in 2x speed if you already have the knowledge. Otherwise, you can watch in normal speeds. Okay, up to you.
Okay. Okay.
So step one, I suggest you to go with this software testing,
Mm.
live project. Okay, software testing manual, right? I mentioned software testing course manual live. Okay, course manual live project. Okay, this is the first step you have to complete. Then step two, you have to go for okay. 1 minute, it's finding it. Yeah, this one. It's not a simple one. If you already have some knowledge, you can do it. Otherwise, you can, lot of things are covered here. Okay. So end to end, it is kind of very end to end kind of
Okay.
thing. So this will take some time though, but I
Mm.
recommend people to do it. Okay. So this is
Okay.
like, a lot of videos are there, but few are like basics are there, HTML things are there and all those stuff. Okay.
Mm.
So
Okay.
this one is like 492 videos, and the name is Selenium Java biggest course. Okay.
Okay. Sure.
Course, and that too with live project I mentioned, but that is step two. And third step is the API part, right?
Yeah. API.
So manual testing API content is there with me, but automation content is at this moment not there on the YouTube. But I'm going to cover in the sessions. For now, you can complete at least this manual testing API testing course. Okay. Step three is API testing course. Okay, from my YouTube channel. Now
Okay.
you will reach a point where you have to attend the interviews, right? after these
Mhm.
3 items.
Yeah.
So you are ready to attend the interviews. So at the time of attending the interviews, in parallel, what you have to do is you have to go through my interview questions playlists. Okay, parallelly. Don't aim for completing them because they will take a lot of time. This is software testing interview questions playlist is there. Okay, software testing interview questions. There are 387. This will increase your knowledge on software testing. Okay. Step 4 is parallel. You have to, while attending the interviews, you have to learn this. Okay, software testing interview questions.
Okay.
Step 5, we have not only have this one, we also have core Java interview questions that I already gave an assignment today, right? As a fifth
Yeah.
assignment, I gave that same thing. Okay, that
Okay.
playlist I'll share with you. This one core Java interview. At this moment, 200 are there, but I'm planning for 500. Okay, that's my target. So in the background, I'm already working. You see, 200 to 300. I'm already working with this list in the background. That will be uploaded here on a daily basis. Okay. So this is core Java interview questions. Parallelly, you have to learn core Java interview questions. Step 6 is core Java. Okay. Step 6 is all about core Java. In interviews, they'll ask you about, core Java concepts a lot. You have to learn core Java in depth. For that reason, I have a playlist here. Core Java, where is that core Java? Yeah, here, core Java full course is there. Okay. So where you'll get more knowledge on core Java. Okay. In this playlist, core Java full course. Core Java full course. Not that. Step 7. We have Java programs for interviews. Okay. We have this Java programs. All these things you have to learn parallelly while attending interviews. Okay. So core Java for interviews. Java programs for interviews. Okay. 150 Java programs with answers are there here. You have to practice all these programs. Java programs for interviews. Okay. 150 programs are there. And as you know, learning is, there will not be any end for the learning, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So while you're attending the interviews and all, I'm not limiting you to this part. Okay. After that, you go with other things like performance testing, security testing, and all those stuff. Okay. A lot of things are there. You can go with my playlist and try to go with my YouTube channel and try to cover whatever I have, not part. Many things are there. There's a lot of webinars are there. A lot of, this different ideas you have to get. Okay. So like, for example, you see software testing expert talks are there on different tools. Technologies on software testing like that you can watch. You can go with the basics of security testing here. You can learn Python, you can learn C#, okay, other concepts like XML, JavaScript, like that you can keep learning. You can learn Docker, you can learn Kubernetes as an additional things, okay. So like many things are there, okay, and you can learn the things in depth. For example, you can learn you say TestNG in depth. You can learn POI API in depth, extend reports in depth, separate playlist, Cucumber BDD in depth. There is no limit for that, no end for that. Keep learning and attending the interviews. And only these 3 things they have to complete before the interviews. After that, before the interviews, these 3 things need to be completed. Once you start attending the interviews, this is the initial list. After that, you can go with whatever you want in this and then try to complete them and increase your skill, add more keywords to your resume and all those stuff. Okay. That's the plan I generally give for the people.
Okay, sure, sir. Sir, like in this scenario, like in this plan, like the CI/CD is also included?
Yes, CI/CD is already included there. As part of this one, it's included. Selenium Java biggest course, right? CI/CD is already there, part of that. Okay. Frameworks are already there. Everything is there. Okay.
Okay,
And also these webinars, if you see, there's a career, software testing career planning one webinar is there. You watch it once. Okay. This will give you some kind of exposure. Okay. So maybe you can watch it after you complete, these things. Okay. Then you watch it here at the step 8. Then you'll get all the ideas what to do and all. Okay. This webinar you try to watch.
Okay, sure, sir. Sir, like with this skill set, like may I apply for SDET roles?
SDET roles, you can start applying but
Mhm.
you need to continue your learning. Okay.
Okay. So
SDET you can
usually,
apply. Yes. Once you are good with frameworks and all, then go and you can apply. You can start up. You just go and learn some software development as software development technologies. Okay, in the market, and start applying for SDET parallel.
okay. So what is that, sir? Like, I really don't understand what is the SDET role and the QA automation.
SDET is very simple.
Okay.
70% focus will be on QA side. Okay,
Okay.
you are a software tester basically, but you have some development skills. That's what is SDET role.
Okay. So in order to gain those skills, like what all things that I have to learn, development.
You see, people talk about full stack development, right, these days, right? So all the technologies that developers learn, you have to learn in parallel.
Oh, okay.
Front
Okay.
end, back end, all the stuff, database, etc., APIs, unit level development. Okay,
Hmm.
coding part you have to start learning. Okay,
Okay.
you don't have to be a pure developer, but you are following the footsteps of a junior developer. You can say for now to get started. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Maybe you may be working in a company and you may have some developers there, right? So
Hmm.
what you guys have to do is just go and sit beside the developers and see what exactly they are using on that particular days. Okay, what kind of
Hmm.
work they are handling. So what knowledge you are lacking, so that because of that you are unable to do what they are actually doing. Like that, you have to slowly incorporate into your daily life, and slowly you have to become a developer. Okay, your
Oh,
core area is testing, but along with that, you are ready to do the development also. That is what is SDET, nothing much. Software developer, engineer in test. Okay.
okay. Okay. Sure, sir.
So there
So
are
the main
different combinations
responsibility.
here. Or the people who
Hmm.
become SDET are like this. Developers who are already developers, they come to testing field. They can be a SDET. Okay, that's one way. Or a tester can become an SDET by going that different direction of development side, where we
Okay.
keep learning the technologies of development and try to create a side hustle project for developing by yourself. Like you see, a lot of resources are there online, right? By using
Hmm.
them, you start building some applications by yourself, front end, back end, all those stuff. Okay, create a side project, and you will be good place. It will be you will be at a good place.
Okay. Okay. Sure, sir.
Yeah, I will
So,
discuss more about this SDET later. Okay, see, even I have the plans. Okay, but let's
hmm.
see how to do it and all. Okay, and just try to implement that later. Okay, maybe in the
Okay.
coming days you try to remind me,
Okay.
because people are asking for API anyhow. API knowledge you should have. Okay, that's
Hmm.
compulsory.
Okay. Okay.
API also you should have the knowledge, and on the top of that, you should be able to develop at least some small bug fixes. You should be able to do in your code. Okay, that's what is SDET is all about.
Okay. Okay. Sure.
Less focus on development, more focus on testing. Okay, so that is what is SDET is.
Okay. Okay. So this weekend initiative is there, right? Live project. So
Yes.
that have already started, or like it
No,
is
no, no.
going to
We are
start in the future.
actually because we are waiting for the more people to join. So what we are doing is we are just taking some random applications and automating them. Some challenges kind of things we are automating them. Okay,
Oh.
but we have not started an end-to-end automation of an application. It will take
Oh.
some time for us to go there. Okay, so we are
Okay.
doing the groundwork where we are going to different applications and trying to automate them. Okay, but not
Oh.
end-to-end application. As for actual intention is to automate an end-to-end application, an e-commerce application, entire application we want to automate. That has not started it. Okay, that is the
Okay.
actual plan. But before that, what we are doing is we are going to some practice websites and writing the automation scripts for the practice websites. Okay.
Mm. Okay. Okay.
So you
Sure.
can watch the videos, no problem at any point of time. That videos also, okay, if you are okay.
Oh.
There's no
Okay.
problem. We have not started it officially, but
Okay.
something is going on just to set up the things, okay, like that.
Mhm. Okay. Okay. Sure, sir.
Yeah. So it's clear for you, Srilata, now? Everything?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime you can ask me anytime, every day you can ask me, no problem. Okay, fine.
Okay.
Guys,
Sure, sir.
anyone have any other questions before we
Yeah,
wind up for today? Yeah.
do you have any videos on SQL in your playlist by
Yes,
any
yes, sir.
chance?
SQL is there now. And it's one of the most popular playlist in my channel actually. Okay. When compared to my other playlists, it's very popular. I don't know why. I made it easy. That's another reason, but it's kind of very, very popular. SQL playlist, right? You're asking. So Yeah, this is a one SQL full course. 111 videos are there. Okay, so I explained in very good way. You can, okay, concepts, installations, and everything is part of this. Okay,
Okay.
you can watch
Okay.
this. Yeah. Any other questions, guys?
No, thanks.
Good to go. Fine.
I don't like
Vikram,
suppose one
Vivek, do you have anything?
question.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
suppose if a person has 6 to 7 years of manual experience, right? So
Hmm.
once we're done with this course, right, so how much like we can put on? Like 3 years, 4 years? Automation and we can move forward, or like how it
Yeah, you
should
can
be?
put 2 years minimum on automation without any doubt.
Okay.
I will give. I cannot promise, but I promise that minimum 2 years is that you can keep. More than 2 years also you can keep. With my sessions, but okay,
Okay.
2 to 3 years is fine to go minimum. Okay, because you see, automation is part of the projects, right? No matter how many years experience you have, you are keeping on working on projects, right? Since we are doing the live project sessions on weekends and all, I think you can put good experience. Okay, minimum 2 to 3 you can put. And it's up to you how much you want to increase. Okay.
Okay. Like one
Yeah.
last question.
Yeah,
Like
please.
suppose the person who has 2 to 3 years of experience and a person who has 7 to 8, right? So
Mm.
I would like both will be doing the same work, or like it
Yes.
should be
Yes. It's only the
expertise.
experience matter, right? You see, in my case, when I worked in that software testing field for 12 years. Okay. At 12 years, I resigned and came to this company. Full trainer I became. Okay. So, but till 12 years, what I have done, same thing, right? Same manual, same automation, working on the projects, nothing different. Okay. It was same. Working on different projects, different type of projects. That's the only thing I have seen. I have the same knowledge. Okay, it doesn't matter, guys. How much experience you have doesn't matter. Okay,
Okay. Got it.
same task you generally do, right? Manual automation, APIs, and what the skill set you should have. And because of your experience, right, you have to have knowledge on more things. Okay, either you have to be specialized in one area or you have to be a jack of all trades. Okay, like that, you have to plan your career. If you're specialized, let's say if you are a security tester, at the like if you have good experience, I think it's not a easy task to specialize in something. But if you're in a situation where have less experience and you want to become a specialized in software selling security testing performance, there is chance. Okay, or architect, you want to become automation architect. Okay, and by increasing your development skills and all, you can do that specialization. Or you can be jack of all trades where you know everything, but not a master of everything. Okay, you're good at everything, but not a master of everything or specialized in everything. That is also fine. Keep adding skills, keep adding tools. That's the only thing that we can do as an experienced people. Okay.
I don't like. Do you have videos on mobile automation in your playlist, or like
No,
it's
mobile automation, I don't have videos, but I'll do that in the coming days. Okay. We are going to have some initiatives also. Mobile automation initiatives, API automation initiatives, rest assured initiatives, all those things will start in the coming days. Okay. Once these initial modules are completed, as part of these trainings, we'll start new initiatives. Even security testing also will start coming days. Okay.
okay? Thank you
Just
so
stay
much.
tuned. A lot of things will keep coming. Okay.
Okay.
Fine, guys. Any other things you want
So
to
one,
ask? Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
one last
Sugata, you
question,
can.
sir.
Yeah, please ask.
So, while attending the interviews,
Hmm.
for the SDET roles and the automation roles, the
Hmm.
interview process will be same, or like it will be a different for SDET roles and the QA
It will be
automation?
same, but only thing is that they will be expecting you some development skills.
Okay, so they will be asking questions related to the development, like
Development, algorithms. Okay. You see, for the people who want to go for SDET role, try to learn algorithms. That's the best way. Okay.
Okay, okay.
You see, I have not covered any videos on algorithms, but I have the plans to do so. But I'll do that in the coming days. Okay. We have to work on algorithms and all. Okay. So this year I'll plan to do it. Okay. So, but you don't have to wait for me. Maybe you can start yourself. There are a lot of books and materials in the market, right? So you can go and solve those algorithms. By doing that algorithms and attending the interviews, there is a possibility that you will definitely get selected as a jet. Okay.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Welcome, no problem. Any other questions, guys? Okay, fine then. That's all for today. See you tomorrow, where we'll continue with the remaining portions of Java that is required for Selenium automation. Bye, everyone.